Loading dance move. Loading complete. Melody terminated. Song status. Loading complete.
And we're live.
Oh,
Welcome,
hey.
one and all, to episode 2 of the Reset Button. The title for this one is Shed No Tears, because there's a certain release that happened today we're going to talk a little bit about. Just
I don't know what you're
bit.
talking about. What's actually happening today?
Yeah, it's just been a normal Friday. I don't know what everybody's all fussed up about. I have no idea.
Yeah.
No, everybody knows.
Well,
Tears of the Kingdom released today. What a release.
hold on.
Go
Hold
ahead.
on, Patrick, before you go too far.
Uh-oh.
I have a moment. So let me just say, today is monumentous. I mean, this week, in fact, let me not just like pin down today. So after months and months of waiting and anticipation and all the hype, all right, I finally picked up a copy of the new Dokapon Kingdom. It came out week. Isn't that what we're excited about?
I actually was bringing this up to him prior to the podcast because I went into the eShop to buy Tears of the Kingdom. And I want to play it when we're done tonight. And then I was like, oh, what else is on sale? I was like, wait, Dokapon Kingdom came out? I was like, oh, yeah. And then I was telling Patrick about it. It's like, you got to get on this. It's like, it's Mario Party with RPG elements, cutesy characters. And like, you can dick over your other players so much harder than Mario Party.
Oh, you had me at screwing
It's
other
like-
players over.
Yeah.
It's like the worst match of rock, paper, scissors times Mario Party is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you know
So,
I'd be
this is
playing
my
that.
hype.
Yeah, I'd be all about that. I mean, I love Mario Party. I love a little bit of RPG sprinkled in, and I certainly love screwing people over. If Robe ever watches this, hey, Robe, you remember me. You hate me. But I think the big thing that everybody's here for, Johnny, what are you wearing over there? What is that?
It's just this t-shirt with the high, I mean, the Triforce. It's Zelda. It's Tears of the Kingdom. T minus 27 minutes until I'm able to play it. It's currently downloading right now. I had to clear up space. I have no more space on my Switch. I had to clear up. So I was like, what can I get rid of? And I'm like, 19. It needs 19 gigs. Fortnite.
Yeah.
What
I
a
got Fortnite on
dilemma.
everything else. I never play it on the Switch. I usually like boot it up on the Switch just to be like, oh yeah, that's still a thing. And
Yeah, I don't think I
it
ever
The
doesn't
played on
download
Switch.
shuffle is awful.
I really should invest in another SD card, but I mean, I have a 128. I'm pretty sure it's a 128 in there. So like, I've got a lot of stuff on there.
Clearly, you need to get more. Clearly. But yeah, the topic here, of course, Tears of the Kingdom released today, but I think we're going to probably talk about all things Zelda, not just Tears of the Kingdom. But before we go into like everything Zelda, do we want to talk about experience with Tears of the Kingdom, or am I the only one with experience so far?
I had the experience of going to GameStop before they closed to check out the midnight release. And then I was a grandma and went to bed, and my partner, he went for the midnight lunch. And then he woke me up in the middle of the night, and he's like, look at all stuff, and he won apparently a bunch of like Zelda trivia and got cute little goodies. So that is the Tears of the Kingdom experience thus far.
Oh, nice. Well, I actually picked it up. I'm not going to go into super crazy spoilers, but I did pick it up. Played a little bit of it. If you really liked everything that was in Breath of the Wild, I think you're going to be pleased with this. Now, if you wanted, like, right out of the gate, you wanted to hear about dungeons and going back to old school Zelda and everything like that, boy, you are going to be pissed off because that is not what's happening, man. They they doubled down. I think I heard this on another podcast where they, it was Kit and Krista, the Kit and Krista podcast, where they said, this is a new formula and you can either get on the train or hop off. I'm telling you guys, if this is not what you like, you might want to hop off.
Well, there's like 25 other Zelda games to go back and play if you haven't touched them all.
But it's not the new one. You can't be part of the pop culture movement.
That's pretty much the only reason
Yes.
you would want to continue if you don't like this format, because I'm telling you, they're not leaving it. They're not leaving it. But everybody's seen the trailer, the teaser trailer. Everybody knows that Ganondorf's back, baby. And
Somehow Ganondorf returned.
Somehow he's back.
What?
I mean, is that the way it works every time? It's like he's
He
back
never comes
somehow.
back.
Yeah.
We have rotating villains in every single game as the final boss. Like, every time.
Of course. Well, sometimes actually Vadi, but I think that's it.
I mean, Skyward Sword demise technically was not Ganon. It did not say Ganon.
Oh, technicalities. I guess that is true.
I mean, if
But if
anything,
you add
he looks
things
like
together-
Makuma.
It was a
Felt like I was
Kuma.
fighting Kuma the whole time. Yeah.
Nintendo had like an accidental crossover, just like in that one game.
It's like, I mean, Harada gets him in Tekken 7. Can we have him for Link? Sure.
I thought it would be really fun, since we're not going to be talking about Tears of the Kingdom the whole time. This is more of going to be a Zelda celebration here. If we could all just, talk about our starting experiences with Zelda, favorite games, everything like that. So I'll go ahead and give the floor to Liz, which is what I always do. Liz, you're up first.
Oh my gosh, this is so way to start things. So, let me just say, no one's gonna like this, but I feel like the peak of Zelda is Majora's Mask, and that is my firm stance. That is the peak of Zelda, followed by Wind Waker being amazing. However, I didn't play that until I was an adult because I was too cool to play it on GameCube. I didn't have a GameCube, as you guys might recall, but that was a kid's game that cell shading. So I didn't play it. However, I did play the Wii U version and I absolutely adored it. However, I do have, it's a me thing. I'm not saying Twilight Princess or any of the Fallen games, Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild are bad games, but I've had issues since. I have a whole trauma. However, I definitely started with Ocarina of Time. It's definitely of my generation growing up, given my age. One of my childhood friends that lived down the street from me, almost every single week I'd go and play N64 and GameCube because he was the only person I really knew that had a GameCube available. So that's where I got a lot of exposure from that generation on GameCube. But dude, discovering Ocarina of Time was literally mind-blowing. As a baby's first kind of exploratory RPG game. Oh my god, when I'm 8-9 years old, first playing these games, that was mind-blowing. And I had no perspective of any of the prior games either on top of it. So I feel just growing up and progressing with more and more Zelda games, it just got better.
Awesome. So I guess the best question there, because you said that you discovered that and it was mind-blowing, around what age range?
So what year did it exactly come out? Because I did not play the game right when it came out for sure.
97, I believe. Or was it 98?
Oh my god. Okay.
Was it Ocarina?
Ocarina, because I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
Majora's Mask was
That's pretty
97, I
late.
think.
2000.
Yeah. 97,
Oh.
98, I think is when Ocarina came out.
Yeah, so I think I definitely had to have played it between like 2000, 2001, kind of thinking of my age. Like I remember getting so hard deep into Zelda, probably like fourth, fifth grade. Not even not fifth grade, like third, fourth grade, that kind of age range. And I remember when I got my copy of Majora's Mask, I got like the inbox copy from Blockbuster that was used, like it had everything. So that had to have been a newer release if they had that available. So definitely it was one of those things I would like had to go to my neighbor's house as much as I could to play Ocarina. And then I eventually like suckered my mom into buying it for me so I could have my own save file. A big thing as a kid is the whole save file aspect where it's like, well, you could always go to your friend's house and play it, but it's their file. They are infinitely farther in the game at any point, even if you have your own file, they'll want to play theirs because they have all the cool unlocks and abilities or worlds, whatever. Um, so the moment of relief when my mom found like a decent price on like a used copy for me, again, probably at Blockbuster, I would, if I could recall. But definitely Majora's Mask I did get with the box, but it was like open and used.
Mhm.
So probably it has to be like 2000, 2001 in that time frame with my first Zelda games.
Yeah, I've found that people who try those games at a younger age, like I kind of put those two together, Ocarina and Majora's Mask. That they seem to float towards that if that's the one that they tried at a younger age, versus dinosaurs like me, where like I was playing the NES one. That was the first one that I was able to get a hold of. I tried a little bit of Zelda too, but that didn't end well for me because I was terrible at it. And I had this thing that just I did I mention this last time? I pissed my cousins off to no end because I would just keep going back and getting healed. Because you go out there and you get jumped randomly, you get your ass kicked, go back and get healed, no problem. But then A Link to the Past. Whew, what a game changer. That was so amazing. It was the reason why I wanted a Super Nintendo. Saw a friend had it, played it a little bit, and then thought, no, I want this at home. I gotta have this at home. So picked that up, played through it, finished it multiple times, and then when Majora's Mask, Ocarina, when those came out, I was obviously older, and those just didn't click with me as much. And I've noticed that that's been a thing with other people around my age because those were available when you were older, a teenager, and maybe you didn't have as much time, just didn't click as much. There's nothing wrong with them. I just want to say that right now, everybody. Put the torches down.
Yeah. And like I think a big part of what you're describing is how I felt with like Ocarina and Majora's when I was probably roughly around the same age when you were playing Zelda 1 and 2 and Link to the Past. Like when you were like playing in that kind of era, when you're a kid, it's not that I have less time as a teenager. Like, but let me just say I had more of my own money and I bought as many games as I could and spent a lot of time gaming. But when you're a child, I think your imagination becomes so intertwined with the game itself. And I think that's what sparks a lot of joy and like that nostalgia in people is that when you're a kid, like your imagination is so much more expansive at that time and you're still little and developing and all that kind of stuff.
That's also a really good point because the first Zelda is a real joy for me, largely because there was a lot you had to figure out on your own, and there isn't a whole big amount to work with. So it was a lot of imagination you had to throw in there. Because when I was playing through it, nobody knew what Ganon looked like. You heard all about him going through the game, but you had no idea what he looked like. I mean, there was that cartoon that came out right after Super Mario Brothers Super Show with that depiction, but you didn't know until you got near the end of the game, and that was a ball buster. But it was really good for the imagination, so I think you've got a point there.
And on to that, like I've been watching Maximilian Dude playing the original Zelda, and he does it like nowadays. Like we are so spoiled right now because like if we get stuck on anything, like it's been played a million times, anyone knows what to do. He limited himself to only using what he had available, like what anyone had available back in 1987. So he's like, okay, all I have is the instruction manual. This NES Atlas guide, it was just a PDF file. It's like I can go to this, and then he gave himself like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire lifeline, so he could call 3 friends at any point if he got stuck. So like physically call them on the phone and be like, hey, I'm at the first dungeon and I think I might have forgotten something. And they're like, oh man, I think you can go up to the top and, you know, grab this. And, you know, that was it. He limited himself to that aspect. And I think that's a really cool way of people playing the game that may have not gotten the opportunity to back in their childhood.
And Johnny, kind of jumping off that idea with like Maximilian's streaming format with trying to solve games that he might not know all the answers to, kind of in the essence of exactly what you're talking about and like a similar type of game. I've been under this like pitfall of Hollow Knight and it's consuming my life. And I'm like, wow, this is like, feels like original Zelda and Zelda 2 combined, and it pleases everything in my brain. However, I really haven't looked anything up. Just like maybe like once or twice I caved. I'm like, blah, blah, look something up. Oh, okay, no worries. And otherwise, I've literally have talked to one of my friends almost every single day after I play, and I'm like, oh my God, and he throws like little hints here or there. So it's so much more fun. You know, just kind of depending on your mood and what you want. I think it's a really great way to play.
Yeah.
There's also, I remember back in the day when we'd be stuck on stuff like Zelda, Metroid, what have you, Nintendo Power played such a huge role because you'd just be stuck on, I don't know, what have you. And I remember Zelda 2, watching my cousins get really far in the game, but like every step of the way, it was like, okay, Nintendo Power, what does it say on this one? What does it say on that one? It was a really heavy Nintendo Power era because, again, the series has always been on secrets and trying to discover things for yourself. That has been the biggest part. And I'll put it this way. It's still about that. Tears of the Kingdom, whenever you guys pick it up, if anybody hasn't tried it yet and you want to, it's still very much about secrets. It's still very much about puzzles, which is something that really started to show up hardcore in the Ocarina era.
Hello?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, I thought you may cut out there.
Oh no. At least I hope I didn't. Oh no.
No, you're good. You're good. There was like a brief end to that sentence. I was like, oh wait, are we done? Okay. No, we're good. It's just that for anyone watching live, it's like we can't see his perspective because he's got to do everything through the streaming software.
Live.
So like I can't see his camera. I can see Liz, but I can't see Patrick. So I don't know when I got the cue ready for him to go.
Gotcha.
But I guess I'll go back with my experiences with Zelda. It's like it was the original. However, I was never allowed to play it. I never owned it as a kid. My cousins did, and when they came down to visit and they brought their NES down, nope, can't touch it. I'm 30 hours in. Don't touch my save file. You can't play. Because like, can I just play the third save file? There's nothing on there. No, can't touch it. No, can't touch it. Can't do anything.
God,
Like,
sounds like my brother.
Right. Yeah. The first one I like really like dug hardcore into playing was Link to the Past, and it's probably still one of my favorites. So much so that I've opted to do the randomizer. So like every time I go replay it, it's like, oh, I don't have the lantern. I can't see in the dark. Where's the first sword? Where's the Zora flippers now? And I've also combined that now with Super Metroid. So it's like, okay, the first chest gives me $20. It's like, oh wait, I got the morph ball. I can go back to Metroid. I've got into playing that at a different way. Lately, I just finished Zelda 2, and I tried my hardest to like not look up a guide. I think like right near the end, I was just like, okay, I'm completely stuck. I can't get into this town. They won't give me the spell unless I have the last magic piece. So I had to look it up. I was like, wait, it's there. It's all the way back there. I had to travel all the way back. What else did I do? Yeah, Link's Awakening. Played that as a ton as a kid. The OG one, not the DX. So I didn't have the colored one with the extra dungeon and the blue or red mail until later on when I bought it. And then Ocarina. I've never played Majora's Mask. to its fullest. I've started a little bit. This is not on me. Let's just went.
Oh,
Like, whoa.
I'm just being dramatic. I'm only teasing you. It's okay. You could say to me,
I'm gonna throw hands.
there's so many Zelda games I still have not completed, and I can go into my traumas as we go throughout this episode. So it's okay, no judgment. I absolutely understand.
no,
Well, that's
none
good.
until the end, at least.
I had okay, so like I kind of stopped there, and I hadn't played any new Zeldas. I've since gone back since streaming. I've gone back and beaten all the other Zeldas. So, loved Wind Waker. Played the original GameCube version. Twilight Princess, played that on GameCube. Loved that. Man, something that hit me when I got into Hyrule Castle near the end of Twilight Princess, and I heard like the SNES Hyrule Castle theme, but like orchestrated, so like you hear it in violins. You just hear one violin as you're going up, and I was just like, damn, is this Zelda or is this Castlevania? This is getting me some Castlevania vibes right now. I think like right now, as far as Zelda games, there are maybe 4 or 5 I have not played. I haven't played the Oracle of Ages and Seasons on Game Boy Color. I haven't played Triforce Heroes, Four Swords. I think I've played every mainline Zelda, including the CDI games.
What?
Except Zelda's Adventure. Haven't played that. But I did find out that someone actually modded Link's Awakening on Game Boy with the map of Zelda's Adventure. So if you want to play a better version of Zelda's Adventure on CDI, there's a ROM hack for Link's Awakening that you can do that on.
What does that even look like? A better version of Zelda's Adventure.
Yeah.
That's like saying a better version of being shot. I'm not sure that's great.
It's like
I actually haven't played the DS games, the Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. I was forgetting those.
Yeah, those were a few. Like I'm not gonna say at all that I've played all of them. That would be an absolute lie. But a good bunch of them. I mean, even my wedding ring has the Triforce on it. But I would say the one game that really caused the Game Boy to become a must-have, because before it was kind of a toy, something you would take on the road and just whatever, take it or
maybe
leave it.
More casual games, would you say?
Yeah, but then Link's Awakening showed up, and I think that's when it really changed. And then the Game Boy was a must-have system, turned everything around. And the most amazing part about that is that was just like an after-hours project. That wasn't supposed to be anything that really happened. And I mean, I'm not going to say it saved the Game Boy, because it was doing fine, but it made it more than a toy in people's eyes.
Yeah.
It could show the depth and perhaps the capabilities of the Game Boy, because it's definitely a lot more complex than saying, well, Tetris is the best-selling game. That's a super simple and straightforward game. So I think, when you think about certain consoles or games that were so pivotal or influential, it's really testing the hardware's limits or going as far as they could at that time.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I'm kind of looking forward to with the Game Boy Advance Nintendo Switch Online app. That the fact that you can play Mario Kart Super Circuit multiplayer, you don't need a multiplayer tap. That leads me to believe that they will eventually put Link to the Past and Four Swords Four Swords on there, to legitimately be able to play that. That would be so awesome.
Oh, dude, I'm the one person who has, I think Four Swords was a limited release on the 3DS, so you could play with other people. But I got it, and then other people just dropped the ball, and it's we had a month or at least more. I can't remember how long it was. At least a month to get it. And it was oh, I have this game to play alone. So I had kind of a dilemma trying to play that game, in the 3DS era.
Chat's bringing up a very good point with some of the different mobile games that came out, Legend of Zelda, like Minish Cap. So I wanted to dive into it really quick, because it hasn't always been Nintendo that developed and made great Zelda games.
Right.
Some people may not know it, but Capcom left a very, very lasting impression on the series with both the Oracle games and Minish Cap. Minish Cap, if you haven't had a chance to play it, it's really amazing. Feels great on a GBA. When that was a system where, again, they weren't quite sure what it could do, how powerful it was, and I think Minish Cap did a great job of showing exactly what that system could do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Minish Cap, I vaguely remember like going to my that same neighbor's house growing up, playing it, but I've never played it myself through and through. However, the Oracle games, oh my god, praise be. I loved those games. They were awesome.
Yeah. I have those in my binder of Game Boy games somewhere, but I probably am going to wait until it's on the Switch, so it's going to be an easier method of linking the games together so you can actually beat Ganon as the final boss, because I think that's how it works there. You got to play both games and then you get that last dungeon or that last boss.
Now,
dude, I didn't even know that. Like, am I like behind the times?
Oh yeah, it's been known for a good bit, but I can't remember how to do it. Do you have to have 2 Game Boys and link them? Is that how you do it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's like a link
gross.
system there.
It's really gross.
That's so mean, especially when it's like, I'm a child or tween or teen that has limited money. I can't afford 2 consoles. Maybe my friends don't want to play this game. Oh, and I got to get the cable on top of it. That's so cruel. Holding final dungeon and boss from everyone.
What's even worse is, remember, there's Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. So that, they Pokemon you. You can't have the same copy, I don't think.
Oh my god.
I think one has to have Seasons, the other has to have Ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, adding it up, it's a marketing scheme.
Yeah. To legitimately do that nowadays is probably going to cost you even more, because oh boy, the Game Boy Zelda games ever shoot up in price, except for Link to the Past. Link to the Past is still like, mid-level, but like Minish Cap, at least in Canada, you're throwing down $100 for one of those carts.
Yeah, and I had the Game Boy Advance version of Link to the Past, and I'm gonna be a baby for 1 second, but when I was a kid and I played that, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I got stuck really, really fast. Not even stuck. I think maybe it was just too hard for me when I got it. Because again, I was less than 10 at that point, and my first exposure was Ocarina, and I hadn't even beaten it by the time I started getting some of the other games. So I just remember like hitting my head against the wall and be like, this game's like not bad, but like it's too hard. And I think I started, like, maybe after high school, I started playing the Super Nintendo version. I don't know, I just didn't have time for it, and I haven't committed, and I know it's, like, the gravest of sins.
Life is reminding everybody in the chat that we do have both copies. We do have Oracle of Seas and Ages, but the one thing we don't have, we don't have the link cable. You still have to have that. Yeah. And I have no idea how much that costs, and I don't want to know, unless it's cheap.
I do have a link.
Oh, we do have a link cable. I thought we didn't.
Yeah.
I have a link.
I don't think they're too hard to come across, are they?
Okay, awesome. And why are we fighting Ganon?
That could be a good co-op campus game.
I think so.
If you have the means to stream it.
I think cool. we could do like a little speed run, see which one finishes it first, and we could fight Ganon. Which, by the way, everybody, the Ganon that is brought back in that one, I think is like a completely mindless version. Like probably the most animalistic version of Ganon that you'll ever see in the series. So it's pretty cool. I don't even think he uses magic. He just comes at you straight forward, just swinging.
Let's go fight Ganon.
So let me give you guys the fun little bit about Oracle of Seasons and Ages. Is that I loved that game so much when I was a kid that, again, I suckered my mom into buying it brand new. I had Ages, and I knew some people had Seasons, and I tried it, but I still liked Ages better. However, I liked it enough that my mom did buy me the strategy guide, and proudly over my 8, 9, 10-year-old bed, I had the big fold-out poster. Nehru, and I forgot the name of the other one, was on it, and they were so cool. And I think the guide flipped, you had to flip it the other way and flip it upside down to see both parts of the games. And I was the coolest in my older childhood having that poster adorning my wall. I don't have it anymore because I gave it to someone, and I high key regret it. But um, cool kid. Let me just say.
Let's switch gears real quick and talk about a very tumultuous time in the history of Zelda. We've mentioned the game a few times, but during the GameCube era, when everybody was ready for the next taste, because we'd come off the high of Majora's Mask, and everybody was wondering what's next.
The peak, the peak, the peak.
What is the peak? What are we getting? And then they see Toon Link, and they're angry. They're very upset with the direction that the game is going, even though Wind Waker was a great game. It still is to this day. The controversy at the
One of
time,
the best.
Yeah.
and if you don't believe me, you can go back and read the magazines. I mean, it's there. A lot of people thought that that was going to be the end of the series if that was the direction they were going. Does anybody else remember anything like that?
Dude, it was tragic. Again, being the cool kid with my poster, that Zelda game, you know, it looked different than the cool one on my wall. And all the other posters I'd find, and Nintendo Power, and blah, blah, blah. That Toon Link, not cool. Ocarina Link, cool. All iterations, cool. Not that one.
That was
Yeah, it was
exactly the
definitely
vibe.
it was definitely a judge a book by its cover. You know, you look at it, you're like, and I think though the reason why it was so panned is because at Space World, when they were showing off the GameCube, or I think it was still Codename Dolphin at that point, they had a little bit of a scissor reel of an adult Link fighting Ganondorf. You know, like a high quality version of Ocarina of Time playing. I mean, that's always a proof of concept, so that's never going to happen. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, that kind of soured some people's like, I thought we were gonna get, you know, a successor to Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. You're giving us this. I know public opinion has definitely switched on it now. Like, people have actually gone and played it. It's like, no way, this is actually this is a really good game.
At the time, the issue was there were a lot of people who just didn't even give it a chance because they saw that and thought, nope, I'm done. I'm off the wagon. Not even going to bother. Which, like you said, is just tragic because it was one of the highest tier Zelda games out there now. So
Oh my god.
a lot of people missed the boat.
It's awesome. And I do appreciate with the Wii U version, I know a lot of people had issue with like the speed of sailing, and I like that they did make it accessible. I mean, I know the Wii U is not the biggest seller in the world. It's like the second worst seller, I think, in Nintendo history. But point aside, I think it really opened the avenue for people that were into Nintendo that may not had a GameCube or didn't have interest during the big like Toon Link controversy back in the day, and that was definitely me in both categories. So I do like the improvements that they had on the Wii U version, for example, and like one of the coolest things was like finding like the little messages in a bottle on like the Miiverse part of it. So I regret that I didn't play it as a kid, and you can't control that because again, you are a child. However, I feel like the Wii U is such a great way to play it, and honestly, I don't think I really want to play the GameCube version at this point. I just want to play Wii U again.
I have both versions. I also prefer Wii U, primarily because one of the major changes they made in it just, I think, severely improved the quality of life. The way the magic armor works in the Wii U version is completely different from the original GameCube one. The magic armor in that one, it runs off of rupees. So if you fill up with rupees, you just lose like X amount every time you're hit. So if you fill up on rupees before you try to go to the end of the game, you're not going to get bodied. Or at least I'll say you shouldn't get bodied. So I appreciated that. But we'll switch gears and then talk about something that's already been brought up in chat. Basically, the redemption story of Zelda. And I'm sure everybody has seen that clip at this point. Everybody here included. When they finally showed a clip from Twilight Princess, Minamoto comes out on the stage, sword and shield in hand, slashing while everybody is screaming, cheering, jumping up and down. Just one of the greatest moments in E3 history. And now some people have mentioned in chat, and now people hate the game for whatever reason.
Oh.
I don't think
Is
there's
that
a
a
reason to
really
really
thing?
hate Twilight Princess.
Actually, yes.
Oh, okay.
Really?
All right, let's hear it.
That's where the trauma begins. Okay. So, again, not having a GameCube, I did get a Wii within the first few months that it came out. So, of course, I played the Wii version. And this was before the era of online updates and sophistication, and on the Wii in particular. And, I really, really liked Twilight Princess. It was so cool, so fresh, so new. It was my first game on the Wii, aside from like Wii Sports. We don't count that. It's in every Wii. Um, and I was really digging the game. And at this point, I was in early high school. And kind of as you grow up, you do like have limited time, you got social groups and people to hang out with. And there's a point where I think my save file, I was probably some 50 hours in the game. And I got to a game-breaking glitch really close to the end of the game.
Oh, no.
And I
no.
was like, fuck this shit, I'm never playing this game again. Like, I was so upset. I did not have the heart because I was going on my way to get all the collectibles as much as I could. And I was still on dial-up in an era where so few people had dial-up. So I'd go online and like go on GameSpot.com. That was my jam for a very long time. Like, when I got really on the internet around like 10 years old, when I was like hardcore online to like graduating high school, GameSpot.com was my jam. And like I transitioned to Screw Attack, towards the end of high school. And that's where my story went with online gaming communities. But like when I like did so much research and I was kind of confused, and then I eventually came upon a consensus of other people having this issue. It's like, oh, I just saved at the wrong place under the wrong scenario and quit out the game. And if I didn't quit out the game because I knew I was going somewhere closer to like get to Ganon or like the next major area in the game, if I hadn't saved and quit, because I was like, okay, I'm going to close the book on this. I know I have a big thing to start. I don't have time. If I hadn't saved and quit, it would not have happened. So, I do have to give Nintendo props, though, with Skyward Sword, that they did have some sort of update to fix something in the game. Like, it took up a little bit of hard drive space, not that much. But they did make an effort with the next game to fix something that, screwed it up. So, that's where everything went downhill.
I don't know. I think that's justified, man. That's...
Yeah.
I'd feel the same way. I mean, it's a good game. It is. But if I had an
agree.
experience where, I was that far in a game and I had a game just crushing glitch that screwed everything up for me and there was no going back, I think I'd just throw my hands up and say, fuck this too.
Yeah, in particular, it wasn't even trapped in a good area. I was stuck in like a cannon room, and this room is emblazed in my mind forever. And okay, but I do have to like say, when I was in college at a point, that said same childhood friend, he moved to a little bit different part of town. We were going to community college and we were still at home. I rekindled a friendship after kind of losing touch with him throughout junior high and most of high school. And the same exact friend who introduced me to Zelda, this is when we hammered out a bunch of like GameCube era games. So we went through all of Metroid Prime at that time, 1, 2, 3. Like I would hang out. I was like, dude, I've got trauma with Zelda, Twilight Princess, but I will come over consistently over the next 6 months, and we 100%ed it. We did Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Like it was awesome. It was mostly like me getting to hang out with a really old good friend and experiencing games that we played together, or one of us might have played more than the other, and it was golden. So I kind of secondhand did 100% Twilight Princess, and we did even like the weird like trials where you keep going down like 200 floors. I can't remember what it's called, but like he literally did everything and had a meticulous checklist. So I did get to experience it again.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember. Were they the Twilight Trials or something like that?
Yeah, and we had some good ass armor at that point and like all the cool stuff, and that was like so cool. I would not, under my own motivation, play that by myself, and I got to see it.
Well, That's awesome that you eventually got through it. I can't say I've ever really run into any sort of like really horrible glitches or anything like that with any of the Zelda games I've tried. Usually they're pretty glitch free. Have you run into anything like that, Johnny?
Not offhand, not intentionally. I do have a funny story because there was one night I actually for streaming I did Link to the Past with crowd control. So for anyone that doesn't know, crowd control is this system that you can get that links up with your Twitch account and a specific really programmable emulator. Oh, he's already teeing in the chat. I already know you know what I'm going to say. So you can convert your subs and your bits on Twitch into coins for this system, and then you have like this little checklist of effects that you can do in the game to your players. You can help them or hinder them. So you can turn like the floor ice. You can give them ice physics in places that doesn't have ice. You can invert their controls. You can flip their controls. I'm on Ganon, and I finish it off, get the final hit on him, and as the music is playing for the victory, Wordman, who's in the chat, drops 500 coins to instantly kill me. But I had a fairy in a fairy in a bottle, and it revived me. It started the music over again for the victory, but it soft locked me. I couldn't move. I couldn't get into the room. I couldn't finish the game. So.
Oh, that is gross.
What a cruel twist of fate.
I know.
I don't know if I could continue on like anything after that. I think that'd be my last crowd control stream.
I did one where it was a Zelda Metroid randomizer too, with crowd control, and I think I beat the swamp boss. And as the hearts are filling up after I beat him and got the crystal, I think someone redeemed go down to 1 health. And I had to sit there until the hearts filled up. So it would fill, it would trigger, it would fill, it would trigger. So I was like, okay, I guess we're going to be here for a minute. What do you want to talk about? No, crowd control is like really, really cool. It can be really trolly sometimes. And what's funny is I was on another Twitch streamer's stream. She was doing Earthbound crowd control. And I had like a couple of free coins set up, and she was just starting off, and she's like, okay, I have to finish the tutorial before you guys can redeem stuff. I was like, all right, I'll wait. And I was like, oh, I'll send you the cute UFO to fight. One shots her, kills her. She's like, I haven't got to do anything yet. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't think it would kill you. Because everyone else was like redeeming. It's like, here's like the best weapons in the game. Here's the best armor of the game. You should be fine. No, here's the UFO. 1-shot kill, dead.
That is
I felt bad, but then she's like giggling off. She's like, it's okay, Johnny, it's fine. I'm like, okay, good.
He honestly says I felt bad. Sure you did.
Haha. Well, let me just say, if you do have a moment where you do defeat the trolls, no matter how hard they come at you, if you're able to succeed or even be close to succeeding beyond their expectations with that random throw 'em of whatever crap that they give you, it's such a rewarding win compared to just playing the game vanilla. So, you'll have a win one day. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, I eventually went back and beat them without, them trolling. So I didn't leave that to chance. I had to go back to a save file to do it, but we got it done.
Good.
So I know the next spicy take I wanted to hear about here, because it was a spicy take that somebody tweeted out before we started this tonight.
Right.
Yeah, so I noticed a certain character in the spicy take that was sent out there. A character that I was going to just not mention because I would like to never mention him, but it's already on the table. He's already on the table. So what's going on, Liz? What's going on?
Tingle's cool. I mean, like, Toon Link, not cool, but Tingle, really cool. I mean, like, just conceptually as a character and his stories written to the game, a full-ass grown man who really thinks he's a fairy. like that's the one of the best things I could write into a game. Like that disconnect or wannabe sort of sense of this guy's reality is the shit. I like Tingle. People think he's annoying, but like I love him, and I wish I don't think we ever got like the Tingle game in the U.S. like officially translated. No.
No,
No.
that
Yeah.
one was just
What a
Japanese
shame.
only.
What about the American audience wouldn't want that?
I'm not sure the American audience would understand that.
Well, I do.
He's-
I'm with Tingle. He's cool as shit.
We got Pro Tingle
He
over here.
never stops trying. Take that as a lesson to all.
I guess, you are kind of right. He just does not give up. So, okay, you're pretty much our resident cosplayer here, so I have to ask a question. I know he thinks he's a fairy. Is Tingle a cosplayer?
No, I just think he has an altered sense of reality or hope in his life. And it's a little sad if you really think about it. It just maybe depends on like which game and how he speaks to you, which again, I haven't played every single game to know, but I just think of like a disillusional person. It's a little sad if you really think hard about it.
I don't think chat likes Tingle much at all.
Well, they just chat, and I'm here to upset them. I love you guys. Don't worry.
He's cosplaying as a Kokiri.
That's not a bad theory.
I mean, that's a theory. He'd be a little confused because he keeps calling himself a fairy, but I mean, yeah, he's got the Kokiri vibe there. He's got the dress going on, but they don't put themselves in like a full spandex suit. That's a little unique for him.
It's not just like putting on a costume, it's a lifestyle. Let me summarize it like that.
Oh, he's definitely got that.
Mm-hmm.
He's got
Very
that
different.
down. Dude's dedicated. All right,
Mhm.
we'll definitely get to the last spicy bit here right at the end. So, top tier, bottom tier. That's what we're gonna talk about here, and I think I need to know a little bit about why for each. That's what I need. You know what? I always put Liz on the spot first. I'm gonna go ahead and switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna put Johnny on the spot first.
Johnny on the spot. So we're going like what we think are top tier Zelda games versus bottom tier.
Your top tier. Like, erase
God.
every Zelda game in existence except one. Which one you keeping?
Which one am I putting on top? Oh, I hate to piss off Ocarina of Time fans, but I have to put Link to the Past at the top. Just something about that game, man. It's just something about that game. Just it was the first one to hit that formula and of get 3 MacGuffin, get Master Sword, Zelda captured, get more MacGuffin, fight Ganon, win. It was the one that started that MacGuffin thing off, and I'll always go back to the first one, or I'll always go back to the Link to the Past, I should say. That's top for me.
Bottom tier.
I mean, if we count them, the Zelda CDI.
Nah, that's too
No,
easy.
it's too easy.
No.
Yeah.
We
Like
we
an
can't
actual
do the
good one.
CDI
Let's
ones.
put it that way. An
Actual
actual
good
good
one.
one.
We
Yeah.
can't do the CDI ones.
Bottom tier.
Gotta choose a bottom tier that works, or your face will be the greatest in Kordai.
You must die. Okay. Only because it's different from the rest, I would say Zelda 2. It's not a bad game. Zelda 2 is not bad. But just the fact that it's the black sheep of the franchise because it was so different, because it was side scrolling and
Challenging.
challenging. I'll say Zelda 2. But it's in no way, shape, or form a bad game. I can't speak for the ones I haven't played. So I can't speak for Oracle Seasons and Ages. Someone's saying Link crossbow training. Is that really a game?
I don't
No,
think that's
we don't
fair.
count that.
I don't
Doesn't
think
count.
that's fair.
Not a full blown title. Mm-mm.
No, there's a pack in for the Zapper.
Yeah, I know that Nintendo considers it a full title, but I don't. So I guess we'll
Because
go to war.
marketing.
I'll go ahead and say mine. It's gonna be pretty easy because you just heard both of them. I agree with Johnny. I'm sorry, I agree with Johnny. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. Link to the Past set the foundation of what Zelda should be. And I know that greater things came along. I get that. But Link to the Past set the foundation. It was a fun-ass game. It is a game that I can complete every year and not get tired of it. Matter of fact, I do. Every single year. It's one that really helped us understand what the future is going to look like. First time we heard the name Ganondorf. So we knew that in the future there would be something about that. And it's just one of the best Super Nintendo games you could ever play in your life. Plus, it led to Link Between Worlds, and that is a sweet-ass game, too.
That's true. That's true. I have that. You want to hear something funny? I beat that game not knowing that the blue and red mail were in it. I beat Ganon basic ass bitch green mail.
What?
And
God.
I think someone had to tell me afterwards, just like, wow, you did that without the blue and red mail. And I'm like, there's blue and red mail.
What?
Where the fuck are they? I didn't find. I'm like, oh.
Were you just getting bodied by Ganon at the end?
No. I think I had some fairy bottles. I think I went through that pretty
Sure,
stacked
but
there,
his
so.
but doesn't his magic, like the bats and the fire and everything, do like crazy damage with green armor?
I think I can't remember. It's been so long since I played. It's been at least 4 or 5 years since I played it, so I had to think about that.
I think it does,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been a little bit since I finished it. I think I started it and finished it at the beginning of the year, so I can't remember either. But the one I could do without forever and ever, Zelda 2. I see people saying it's great. I see ya, I hear you, but it's not for me. That's the way I'll put it. I respect it because I understand that back in that era of video games, the NES era, they didn't want to do the same thing over and over again, unless you count Mario 2. But
And Castlevania too.
that's, well, yeah. But they tried something different. They wanted to give you a crazier, bigger adventure, and I respect that because it was a crazier, bigger adventure. But it wasn't my adventure. I didn't like it much. Even to this day, I don't like it. I keep coming back to it, and I'm trying it because I'm like, I'm supposed to be a Zelda fan. I gotta play this. I gotta enjoy this. I can't, man. I can't. Trust me, I've tried. So sorry for anybody who's picking up the pitchforks, but
Yeah.
I can't do it. All
Yeah.
right.
It is different. I personally, I don't think it's a terrible game. It's just really, really, really different. But by the time I got through it, I was happy to have played it. I am going to at some point check out though. There is a Zelda 2 HD remaster PC game that puts the game in widescreen. Has a lot of oh god, I'm losing the name of that phrase. Life convenient. Oh god, what's the term?
Quality of
Quality
life.
of life. Quality of
Okay,
life.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Quality of life improvement. So when you bring the spell list up, it will tell you if you actually have enough magic to cast a spell instead of having you guess everything.
Oh yeah.
They've added in new levels, new caves. There's a system now where you can have heart pieces to fill up your life. Get 4 of the heart pieces, get a full life instead of just one heart piece. So I looked at it and I was like, wow, it looks like really, really, really cool. I want to try out this version of it. So
I
like
think-
if you've played Zelda 2 enough, like it changes
And-
enough and adds more to it that it like subverts your expectations of it and
Yeah.
it looks like a new experience.
I think
And it
I'd
makes
like
me-
to try that version. The original version, I'm not that big of a fan, but I'm the
Mhm.
same guy. Like you mentioned, Castlevania 2. I actually like Castlevania 2,
Yeah.
so I'm insane.
Well,
But I
I was
know
gonna
that
say
there's a
like
modded, better
there's people have
version.
done the same, and they have made their own like homebrew carts of like the improvements or more clarity in which to play that game. So like exactly like literally what you're both saying. I was, they've done that with Simon's Quest.
And I like Simon's Quest non-modded, so I guess I'm nuts. But yeah, the homebrew carts that you can like pop in your system and play, that's a future topic here on the reset button. Anyway, Liz, your best and
Oh
worst.
my god. If I put this in front of me as my flame shield, will it protect me?
Depending on how rabid chat is.
Okay, so I mean, I think it's pretty obvious Majora's Mask is my favorite, and honestly, it's like even playing it as an adult, I still get a lot of excitement, and I still think it's a really compelling and really well-made game for what it is. Um, I mean, there's always things that age kind of poorly, especially on the N64, but overall, I think conceptually as like a format and a game, Chef's Kiss influences a lot of stuff that I like now as an adult. In terms of good Zelda games, the one that I could go without because I've gone without, my heart's racing. I am like very far from being a Breath of the Wild fan. I'm so far from it. And I feel like people are going to show up with like knives and pitchforks and flames at my door, but it is not a game for me. I did make good effort to play it in the past, okay? But however, I've done so much, backseat gaming, watching my partner play it. It's like, it's all right to watch, but the desire and drive to play this game is so extremely overwhelming. And every time I played it, I felt like I was just like walking and then gliding somewhere. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm doing when I play this game. So you're not going to really see me playing Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know. I think when I've thought about playing some Zelda games, I've literally thought, oh, I want to replay this game I haven't played in 10 years. I haven't played or beaten this. Like, my desire to play like Zelda 2 greatly surpasses giving Breath of the Wild another chance. However, again, I don't want to knock on it being a bad game. Like, I think about playing GTA 5 and it's like, oh, I really want to play the campaign, but I'm so overwhelmed and I just can't begin it. At least I've tried with Zelda, and honestly, let me just say the best thing out of Breath of the Wild for me, aside from the art design, is absolutely phenomenal. It is a beautiful game, and I love like the environments. However, the music is like literally the best thing in that game. The best. And I will leave it at that.
I don't think that's that controversial or hot of a take because I can't super get into Breath of the Wild either. I got Tears of the Kingdom because I thought, maybe this one is improved and I need to try that. But I think one of the bigger problems is a lot of what you hit there. There's no dungeons. It's a lot of where the hell do I go because I have no idea what's going on. There's a lot of, they took the idea of the original game where you were exploring, you didn't know what was going on, there were secrets, but it's puffed up to the point where it's like next to impossible to figure out what's going on unless you're willing to go on the internet and do some research. And that can be a bit troublesome, I think. So when I said earlier, and I quoted Kit and Krista, and they said, if you don't like the direction this is going, it might be time to hop off the bandwagon. I was starting to feel that way with Breath of the Wild. I was starting to wonder if, this is the new format and it's not for me anymore. Time for old man to hit the dusty trail and get the fuck out because I wasn't digging it.
Again, I don't want to knock on the game because without really playing the game fully myself, and again, so much secondhand gaming and so much exposure to it, I know what it is and I understand what it is, but the appeal is just like, bro, I could play 2 huge RPGs I still want to play and have some sort of direction. And not to say that there isn't story or characters. I know there's so much hidden stuff and little like side things that you could do and like little oopsies, I ran into this and got distracted. Like, that's the brilliance of a lot of games, but I feel way too directionless. And personally as a gamer, although Zelda I wouldn't say is like a masterpiece in terms of writing, except for Majora's Mask is like a masterpiece in terms of writing with the characters and the timelines, and oh my god. Minus like that particular title, you don't play Zelda for the story. So my motivation is like, well, I really want to dig deeper into story and characters. And I do think they have a lot of like strong characters in the game, but I just don't have a motive, and that's like kind of where my issues with a lot of like the open world sandboxy kind of games, just overall, in general.
Well, there were cool little stories that were
Okay.
being introduced in like the later life of games, like specifically in Majora's Mask. Like that girl that was trying to protect her ranch from the space aliens.
Yes,
That one was
ranch.
wild. I don't
That's
think
crazy.
I don't think anybody ever really fully like understood what was going on with that. Really good YouTube channel for anybody. If you aren't following him, go do this right now. Zeltik, Zeltik. Dude covers everything Zelda, and that's how I first learned about it. But yeah, there's all sorts of crazy little stories, especially Majora's Mask. I think it's the #1 game that really does that. There's little
Oh, for
side
sure.
stories in all of them,
Hmm.
but Majora really ramped that up.
The whole point of the game is side stories, I guess. Like, yeah, of course you want to prevent the moon from crashing into the earth. Like, okay, stop, stop the evil mask. That's like the broader story, but that's like not the reason why you're playing the game. You're there to like help everyone and figure out their problems, and you try and try again. And especially if you were doing it hardcore without a guide, it was so hard, but like in a good way. I don't know. I just felt like it still intrigues me to this day.
Yeah, as someone hasn't played it fully, like I attempted several times, but I just never could get into it because the time mechanic always kind of was like, oh, okay, I got all this time. What do I do? So it is on my list. Like I am going to at some point, hopefully this year, sit down and actually play through Majora's Mask. Because like I have very little Zeldas I have yet to complete or play, so gotta get on that.
I got a quick question for you, Liz. And since I know that Majora's Mask is your favorite, which one
Yeah.
would you tell people to play today? Would you tell them to stick with the original N64 version or the 3DS remake?
So I haven't played the 3DS remake because long story short, um that the game kind of came out when I was finishing college, and there was a point in which that I lost a lot of my video games, and I had the nice collector's edition with Majora and the cute little pose, and I don't have that anymore, so I never got a chance to play it on the
Oof.
3DS.
Mm.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'll get it again eventually. Like, I did play Ocarina on the 3DS, and I really liked it. So I hope that I similarly enjoy it on the 3DS. So I think I'll like it. But I've heard people talk about some of the differences, and I don't think I'll be able to discern it too much. So I don't know, I'm not worried. I think I'll like it.
I think when I tried it, I really liked the 3DS version. But there is a YouTube channel, I cannot remember, who pointed out the differences that they made. In some areas, he pointed out how Nintendo just kind of treated you like an idiot and changed things that really didn't need to be changed all that much, that turned it into more of like easy mode video game versus, actual
Oh.
gameplay.
Okay.
And so some people who are familiar with the original N64 version may not appreciate that, but I think, honestly, it's left up to taste at that point, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I think when I inevitably play it within probably the next couple of years, and when I, make the point to go hunt it down again, um, I'm getting old. I mean, I play a lot of visual novels, probably more than anything. So, like, anything to make it a little more chill for me. I mean, the whole point is playing a stressful game, and that's what I really enjoy about it. Stress, the time, the pressure. I think I'll take like a little bit of the easy stuff. I think I'll give it a pass. I don't know. That's kind of like what I'm predicting, at least.
Well, I think that has been a solid discussion, everybody. Do we have any final thoughts on Zelda before we wrap this up?
Skyward Sword is better than what everyone gives it credit for, even before the Switch version came out.
Johnny, final thoughts?
I'll agree with that. I would say though that if like go back to Skyward Sword, it's like you could probably take a few things out to shorten it up a little bit because
Yeah.
man, I think that was
I
the
agree.
like that was the longest Zelda I've ever played. I think I clocked in at about 25 hours. I didn't even do all the side stuff. Like I couldn't imagine trying to do everything in that and try to get it at a decent time there. I and again I love the final boss fight with Akuma where you're basically going He-Man and Masters of the Universe. Like
And
I love that aspect. Just like strike going up, you
Yeah.
getting the strike, taking the lightning strikes and throwing it down. Loving that. Yeah, it's just it's a series that I have such nostalgic feelings for because like it's as old as I am, I kind of wish my cousins were a little bit nicer and let me play the original NES when I could, but it's great. I played most of them. I love pretty much all of them. I mean, I have like little qualms with some of the games here and there, but
Mhm.
yeah, I eventually want to go through and get the rest of them done. Like Minish Cap on Advance, I've got that on the Switch now, so I can play that. Waiting for Oracle. I have Oracle Season like physically, but it's just more convenient just to have them on the Switch now, right?
I think it's more convenient to have everything on the Switch because at that point,
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere you want to be. It's everywhere you go. Switch is perfect to just rebuy everything. What I
agree.
think. Final thought for me is I truly think if they do another overhead 2D game, they're going to have a huge hit on their hands. Because I can't be the only one that's just jonesing for that. I can't be. And
because I played Link's Awakening on the Switch,
Right.
the Switch HD remake. Oh, that was fantastic.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would be welcome to the 2D again. I think there's like one of those like big like kind of viral videos of what if Breath of the Wild was styled like old time 2D Zelda, and I think I'd have way more fun playing that. And I don't know. That's I think the over the top perspective gives me a broader view of what I'm doing in the context of the game, and like maybe if Breath of the Wild was 2D, I'd probably be a lot more excited to play it. I don't know. I think the different perspective does make a difference for me.
Oh, that would be wild, like a 2D perspective reflecting lasers back at the Guardians and everything.
Yeah, it would work. I think it's so doable,
That'd be
but
sweet.
it's just, it's just a matter of how they would do it if it was an option, I guess. But I think I would like it better that way for sure.
I think it'd be possible, absolutely. Before we wrap it up, let's tell everybody what we're doing on our own channels in terms of YouTube, in terms of streaming, everything like that. Johnny, what you got going on?
Well, it's been a couple of weeks since I did the schedule change up. So Mondays I do anything that's like modified, like ROM hacks, fan games. This past Monday I did Mortal Kombat New Era.
Nice.
That was a trip to play those.
Great choice.
Tuesdays are still co-op Tuesdays with the wife. We're currently playing Halo 3 right now, and we're probably gonna wrap that up this Tuesday. Wednesdays I just kind of just do whatever. I was actually doing the Guess the Game website and just shooting my shots at screenshots of like, oh, this looks like this, and I couldn't believe that like I just saw like a boot on a wooden floor, and I was like, that looked. I'm gonna take a stab at a dark. This is RE4, and it turned out to be RE4. It was like, what? I got it in the first try. And then Thursdays I do this one. I do my extra life stuff. Right now I'm doing. We had got it unlocked where I take all the Mario games into an emulator, and they shuffle every like 90 seconds. Or sorry,
God.
every 10 seconds to 90 seconds. Yeah, that's been a trip to. I've beaten one of them so far. I've beaten 3, but we've been getting more donations for the extra life. So I've added in another Mario game every like $50 we hit, and then I have to beat another one. I had to end early because it was getting to the point where like I'm jumping in between rows of Goombas and dying. I'm just like, why am I not stopping them? Why is it like? My brain was like going haywire. Like, okay, I gotta stop and play this next week because I'm making like rookie mistakes
Fatigue.
with Mario. Yeah, so that's what I got going on over on my channel.
Liz, you've been building that studio over there. What are you up to?
Okay, so I can't really speak for much between now and last episode. I am in Con Crunch. I fly out in 6 days to go to Anime Central. If you're there, say hi. Say hi. I'd be glad to take photos and say hi and hang out and talk anything dorky and cool. I am crunching a cosplay, and I do have another cosplay that I'd hope to finish for the next one in June. But I did order some supplies to kind of get my streaming, like more of like a casual streaming situation where I can play any time that I want. But I'm kind of figuring out what I want to focus on for a stream schedule, which I would hope to announce by the end of the month. And I do kind of have an event I want to do in the summer, at least one event that I think will be really fun. So aside from finishing cosplay so that I'm good for like the foreseeable future, I am assembling my Twitch stuff, kind of in the background, and kind of more background work on focusing on my scripted YouTube channel.
When you start Twitch, where would they find you?
Twitch.tv/ThickLizzie. It's pretty easy. I try to keep things simple.
And Johnny, where would they find you on Twitch?
Twitch.tv/Johnny L. Chase.
And everybody knows I try to steer the ship here at Reset Press Media. So RPM has all sorts of awesome stuff still going on. One of the main things we have, of course, everybody knows Co-op Campus. So with that, that is the wife and I are streaming stuff regularly, co-op together. You can find that over at twitch.tv/Co-op Campus. We'd appreciate anybody who wants to come by, say hello. And we're playing Sunhaven right now. So if that sounds like something you'd like to check out, stop on by. We'd love to see you. And of course, we're going to continue to do the reset button right here. And that's every other Friday. So we'll see you 2 weeks from now. And there's always more stuff that's going to be announced very soon. So you want to go ahead and follow us at, almost at Twitch, twitter.com/Reset Press, or we are Reset Press. You'll find it there for everything RPM, including like if you want to look at what we have to sell at the sales brand, you'll see it there. We've got everything right there for you guys. And that said, we hope everybody had a lot of fun here. I know that we enjoyed the discussion, as we always do. We'll see you next time for episode 3.